Good evening, everyone. My name is Andrew Cherico, and I'm here with Clay Pasco. And welcome to episode 7 of Up All Night, your favorite UCF late night show. How you feeling, Clay?
I'm feeling amazing on this fine day. Been about 2 weeks since we've been back, or since we've gone on the show and done one. So
Yeah, one
been
or
been
the
a
other.
while, but I'm ready to be back.
Yeah. I mean, everything's been good. Can't complain. Football camp is back, and we have some new, exciting news in the UCF football community. Let's talk about captains. 4 captains have been named. Some of the obvious ones: KJ Jefferson and RJ Harvey, and then the two people that everybody wasn't sure about. New transfer Ethan Barr and Marcellus Marshall. I think these captain picks are great. You have good distribution around the offense and the defense. I mean, Ethan Barr, when I spoke with him transfer media day, seemed like a very upstanding guy, and he seems like a guy who wants to lead the defense. What do you think, Clay?
I agree, and some people, not gonna say who, Trace Choco, had an issue with the fact that all four are transfers, and to a certain extent, whatever. But these were chosen by the players, so these are what the players think the team captains of the UCF football team should be, and if that's what they think, and I agree too that these seem like good guys and the best players to lead us.
Yeah, I would say people even have that grudge against Gus in general. Like, why is our homegrown talent not as just out there as much as our transfers are? Because Gus is a great recruiter. He brings in guys who are talented, outstanding individuals on football teams. And when we spoke on media day, he said his goals for transferring is not just a player, but a person who fits the team character. So yeah, I definitely agree with those picks. And what else? What other news we have on the market, Clay?
We were going to media day. We got invited for some reason. I guess they ran out of people. Well, for me at least, they ran out of people to want to bring. So they're like, Clay, I guess you're our last option. You can come with us. Yeah. So by the time this episode airs, we already have done media day. This was recorded on Wednesday. Media day's tomorrow, Thursday. And yeah, there's a lot of good content, a lot of good questions are going to be asked by Andrew and I. We're already dividing up who we're going to ask and what we're going to ask them, and it should be a good time. Record a little vlog, maybe too, a little Suns vlog. We'll
Yeah,
follow
that'd be
Trace around
great.
with a camera, see what he does all day, stuff like that.
Sweet. Yeah, it would be a great. You'll see all of the clips posted on YouTube. You might be getting some Instagram reels as well. So if you don't follow Sons of UCF on Instagram, definitely be sure to look out on that. And yeah, it'll be a great time. Clay has promised already to not ask RJ Harvey any weird questions, or he might get a restraining order. So we're trying to avoid that.
Yeah, this was I had to sign something. Trace maybe sign it and stuff. Like it's a whole thing. I guess
but
whatever, man. I'm just
but definitely look out.
enthusiastic.
Definitely look out for our content that we have. We're speaking in past tense because it would have already happened. All right, and last exciting bit of news for you, Clay.
Yeah,
What do you got?
yeah. I've had the awesome opportunity of getting access to the UCF Stool account on both Instagram and Twitter. And yeah, so whenever you see it, especially Twitter's all me pretty much. If when you see a tweet, that's me. That was me. I did it. It's awesome opportunity. I'm glad. The interview process really hard. It was not. Um, but yeah, and I have you guys to thank pretty much. The Sons of UCF platform is essentially what got me this gig, and yeah, and don't worry, it's not gonna stop my Sons of UCF commitment. I'm still here. I'm gonna do both. I'm here to stay. All right.
All right,
And
and
I
then
think that gets us right into the hot wheel, the hottest topics that
everybody's
UCF has
favorite
to
wheel
offer.
in the UCF community, maybe the
Yep.
world. Could
I
be the
mean, it's a
hottest
top
wheel in
three
the world.
wheel for sure, I think, of all
Top
time.
3 wheels of all time.
Good one.
Okay.
What is the trap game on UCF schedule this year, Andrew? I'm going to go ahead and let you handle this one.
All right. So, in my opinion, I was doing some deep diving on the schedule. Actually, very prior to recording the show, like, all right, who is the trap game? Who is the trap game? Um, this is not the most obvious pick, I think, but I like TCU as a trap game. This was a TCU team that wasn't very good last year, actually, since they haven't had this successful season. But I do think this could be a trap game. You have the 2 wins against Sam Houston and New Hampshire. Bang, you're on the road. First week, easy win. Not. I think UCF is going to go to Fort Worth, and I don't think they're going to lose, but it can very much well be the trap game where all right, they can definitely lose that game. And I think that game can actually determine the tone of the rest of the season. If UCF goes in there, blows TCU out by 30 points, you're like, all right, this seems legit. But UCF has a very well chance of losing, and if not losing, beating them by maybe less than a touchdown. What do you got, Clay? What do you think?
I agree. It's prime time too, man. Anything can happen on prime time. Stuff happens. But my pick is Arizona State on November 9th. Now you're probably wondering, Clay, why Arizona State? They were terrible last year. Here it is. The space game the week before. Let's say we win the space game against Arizona the week before. You're hungover after your Super Bowl. It's at Arizona State, so we gotta travel to the other side of the United States to what, Tucson? I think it's in Tucson, and you gotta travel. And Arizona State is one of those teams that decides randomly just to be competitive against good teams. No, they usually don't win, but they usually go down to the wire with a lot of teams. And I feel like Arizona State's one of those teams that if we go in hungover from that space game win and traveling that far too as well, it's a game we can lose for sure.
Yeah, I like that pick. I do think like what you mentioned about riding the high of the space game win, because the space game win is historically a guaranteed win. But I do like that. I think honestly that game could have major playoff complications. I do think UCF could be top 3 during that time, and if they lose a bad game like that, that can knock us out.
Yeah, I agree, and I think that earns us another spin on the wheel. Okay, how good, Andrew, does this UCF defense, need to be successful this year? And by the way, I want to preface. What do you define as successful this year?
Okay, successful this year, top 3, maybe conference championship game. I do think successful when you say good. I do think that's top 5. But I think if you think about a successful team and all the expectations, majority by the UCF community, but we are getting some outside expectations as well. I do think successful means top 3 / championship, Big 12 championship game. I can see that being successful. But in terms of the defense, as long as we don't have the worst rushing defense in the Big 12, maybe not in the bottom 5. Like, can we be middle of the pack? I think middle of the pack defense is where we're aiming for, rush defense. And then passing defense around the same as we had. It can go up a little bit, can go down. But the rushing defense, I don't even need greatness. I don't need anything else but just mediocre rush defense, because I think our offense is going to be powerful as always. Spoke with Gus the other day. Top 15 offense in the country every year. So that's not the question. We can put up the points. Can we stop the points from hitting us? I do think the rushing defense needs to be mediocre, passing defense around the same as it was last year, and I think we'll be all right. I think we can get that milestone. Deshaun Pace, Lee Hunter are the guys who are going to help us get that.
And I agree. I absolutely agree. You have to think, we went 6-6 last year and had the worst rushing defense in the Big 12, and we still made it to 500. Just imagine if our defense was even slightly better, 7-5, 8-4, maybe even 9-3. I mean, we lost so many games by 1 score or less. Just the defense being fine, not even good, but fine at the least, could be the difference maker in winning a lot of games. So I agree.
Those fourth quarter games, man. The fourth quarter games are the worst. The worst.
And for the final time, we don't even need to spin because we already know what it is. All right. Is KJ Jefferson guaranteed to be our starting quarterback at UCF in week 1?
I know there has been a lot of controversy going around with Ja'Cory Robinson and then KJ. Can they have a QB battle starting training camp? It's a possibility there's a QB battle, but I'm like 95.6% sure KJ Jefferson is starting QB week 1. You don't bring in a guy of his caliber to tell me you're going to be in a QB battle. He came in here with a starting job in his lap. And I think he will have to prove that he deserves that job. He can't take camp off. He can't throw 15 interceptions. But if he can prove he's worth being the starting quarterback, I don't think there's a question about starting quarterback.
Yeah, no, it's all mumbo jumbo. Ja'Cory Brown, KJ Jefferson will have to be universally fallen off from what he once was to even have a chance at Ja'Cory taking that spot. So I think, by the way, Mario was who started all this. Mario Paez.
Yeah,
he made all of this up.
He's definitely leading the rumors, allegations, and it's something that we want to speak about. Everything is circled in the UCF community, and if you're watching us, you get our opinion, you get our take. The one question, like even Mario like pointed out, shout out Mario, I guess, was when Gus had mentioned about players need to get back in better shape. I don't necessarily think he was talking about KJ. Everybody said, "Oh, is KJ out of shape?" I definitely don't think he's listed. He is the listed 247 that they have him as. He definitely is, I think, closer to the 265, 270 range. But at that weight, he can still move pretty well. And like I said, he won't be the fastest scorer. He's not going to be a JRP, but he will be a guy who will steamroll somebody for a first down. That's the best take I can give you. And I do think he will be QB1.
I agree. And I think that segues us right into we had a chance to sit down with Clay Fink of Noles 247 for our trivia nights, and we actually stayed behind it and asked him a few questions, and he had a lot of knowledge to give us. So yeah, here you go, trivia nights with Clay Fink.
Ken.
What's a hoe?
No.
Welcome back to Trivia Nights, a segment we haven't done in a very long time, and today we have the other Clay. He has an amazing name, by the way. Clay
Excellent
Fink
name.
of Noles 247. You know, he's a very knowledgeable guy. A certain no, I can't say that on here. But welcome, Clay, to Trivia Nights. You ready?
I'm excited. I'm glad to be here. I'm
Awesome. You know,
I think
This
it's
guy
gonna be
is certified at knowing ball. This guy definitely knows ball.
But anyways, we're
Right.
gonna get into the questions right now. So for question number 1, Clay, the Noles are 2-13 against this team all time, specifically. Just have not had a good go at it when they played this
Ooh, that's a
random.
really good question.
Yeah.
You would never expect this.
And all right, so I'll go and preface. Okay, I'll go and preface. This team has relatively recently just joined the Power Five.
just joined the.
Powerful,
Okay, well, is it UCF?
It is not UCF.
Oh, I actually just saw some random person comment in another post today that like UCF has a winning record, or maybe they've never
Not in
played
football.
FSU.
Not
They haven't
in football.
played?
I'll
Oh,
tell you that.
oh. It must have been a different sport.
Yeah, we don't own
Okay.
you on football yet.
Just recently.
Yeah, joined the Power Five. And actually, the last time you guys played this team, I was there. It was a stinker.
Oh,
of a game.
okay,
Absolute
okay.
stinker.
Okay.
It just doesn't make sense. Like reading that statement.
Yeah,
it
it's such a
doesn't make
crazy
sense.
stat. I think it's like it's so
Recently
weird for
joined the
this
Power
team
This
to
is
have
really
a
weird. I don't. It makes me feel uncomfortable almost.
Yeah.
BYU?
13-2.
Is it BYU?
No, it's not BYU.
Bro, like you would actually be surprised at how bad this team usually is.
Yeah.
Bro, they'll really have me question.
Okay, let me give you a hint. They're not known for having a football fan base. Like they
Yeah.
ask like, where are the fans?
They
at?
do not show up for football. They're like,
Well, now
win-
y'all have
win-
the that's a lot of bad schools. Okay.
Okay,
So
so
recently
join the
joined the
Power
Power.
Five.
Oh my
Currently
gosh.
Big 12.
Technically Power 4 now, but
Currently in the Big 12. Oh, Houston?
yeah.
Houston, yeah.
What?
Houston is 13-2 all time against Florida State.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Which is
Wow.
mind-boggling to me.
Wow.
Last time y'all played was
Wow.
in 2015 in the Peach Bowl, and that was horrible. Like
I've
Houston
seen
beat
some
the
clips
brakes
from that.
off.
Oh my gosh. I think I actually have a picture or some videos from that game. Someone I posted one night a comment with some FSU players I should watch, and someone replied, all of these comments are too positive, and replied with a freshman quarterback who ended up having to sub in that game. And I watched it. It was 5 plays, and they were the 5 worst passes I've ever seen in my entire life. And he transferred to a D2 school. But yeah, that's
Sounds
definitely a
good.
stinker.
We'll give you a quarter of a point for that
Yeah,
one.
we'll give you a
Like
quarter of a point.
0.25 of a point.
We'll see.
It works.
There's only like 3 or 4 schools that recently joined the Power 5, so
Yeah.
it was a
That's
gimme. But
All right, so this one we kind of already hinted at, but we can get a little bit more specific. Has UCF and FSU ever played, and if when, which year?
okay, they've played. I know they've played, and
Yeah.
UCF
That's-
won the most recent one. No, not the most recent one. So what's the most recent year they've played?
Yeah.
Yeah.
I give you a hint. We were not born yet.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's been a
That
while.
explains- I was thinking, okay.
When they do play again, it will be a masterclass. John Cena
will.
versus Rock, once in a lifetime event.
It'll be beautiful. John Cena versus Rock, exactly. I'll go. I'm honestly just completely guessing. I'll say 1989.
You almost had with
guess.
the 9. Like it was all right.
Really? I was really thinking about the 9. Dang it.
1995 was the last
95.
time.
Oh,
It was like
okay.
45-13. Florida State just ran away with the game. It was not even close.
Okay.
Oh,
But UCF does. Have they won any games against Florida State? Have they played
Not in
multiple
football.
times?
We've only played once. You guys are.
Oh, that's the
against us.
only time. Okay.
Yeah, only time, man. Only time.
Wow.
Dante
Okay.
Culpepper years, man.
Wow.
So, to go into the next question, before the Noles were in the ACC, Clay, what conference were they in?
they were independent.
That's correct. They were independent.
All right.
They thought
And
they were
with our
Notre Dame.
bonus question, that's never really a bonus question because we always ask it anyways. Who is FSU's all-time leading passer?
All-time leading passer. Oh my gosh. I'm pretty sure it's EJ Manuel.
Close.
I could be
He's in the top 5.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, no. I mean, there's like, I don't think Jordan beat it.
Jordan is number 2. on the list.
Okay. Oh my gosh.
I'll give you a hint. He won you a national championship.
Oh, is it Oh, I get. I can't. I don't think Winky or Winston started enough. Oh, Winky.
It's Winky. It's Chris Winky.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, Chris
okay.
Winky.
He
He
was
was like
really going crazy in the time that he played because I'm pretty sure he only.
How many yards he has?
How many?
9,839 yards.
I'm pretty sure that's like maybe he had a few games in previous years, but I'm pretty sure he only started 2 years and did that. That's
He
insane.
went to 2 national championships. He played against Tennessee that year and they lost. Right?
Yeah. Yep.
My dad's a Chris Winky hater for that reason.
All right.
The Tennessee game.
That's
All right,
1.25 out of 4. You know what? It's not bad.
We're iffy on the 0.25. It might have even been less.
You've been a Kentucky fan your
it.
whole life. You know,
Hey.
I get it. You're still getting familiar. Okay, so
I'm getting familiar.
And your name is Clay, so that's like an extra aura point right there.
Exactly. That's a bonus right there.
Bonus point right there.
So all right. So while we have you on, you know, you're very knowledgeable about FSU football, and I also think you're pretty knowledgeable on the state, you know, of Florida in terms of football as well. So we want to like gauge your opinion on UCF football. What do you think? You know, as an outside source from Florida State looking down at Orlando, you know, what are your thoughts on UCF football as a program and UCF football just this year alone?
So I would say, I mean, as a program, I remember when Gus was hired, I was like, he wasn't coming off the best stretch of his career, exactly,
No, he was not.
so to speak. And I was kind of just wondering, like, is this just going to be a couple year thing, and they fire him, and that's like the last thing he does in his career and retires? Nope, not at all. Like the recruiting, especially far in advance, and I'm citing one thing, and it's the 2026 commitment of the cornerback. But that like means something, especially when not like to crap on UCF, but like when you're a school that's not a blue blood necessarily of UCF's caliber, like the early relationships are so huge. And like if you can get the momentum rolling by landing a guy like that in 2026, and that's assuming they don't drop him in the rankings, assuming like if he stays committed to UCF, because I don't know. But like that gets the momentum rolling. Like, and the class last year was second in the conference, I think, or I don't know. It was pretty high. And
Texas Tech,
I think so.
Something like
TCU.
Tech.
And the 2025 class is first in the conference.
Yeah, we're first.
Yeah. So the recruiting as a team that has literally never been Power 5, like, is better than ever. Like, I feel like Gus has it pointed in the right direction. Like, I would feel confident as a UCF fan for the long term. I haven't really looked into their like specific commits, but
Yeah.
I did watch the 2026 kid, some of his like highlights, and he looked
Yeah.
very interesting. Like I'm always I prioritize like taller, like lengthy guys, and he's only 5'11", 6 foot only. That's not short, but yeah, like he has every trait that you would want in a corner, basically, that like makes up for the fact that he's not freakishly big. Like I always have a little bit lower expectations for those guys, and he very much exceeded them. For this year, like the receiving and the running back cores are very, very strong. Like I've watched, your guy, I watch a little bit of your guy every once in a while. I don't even know if I have to say his name.
RJ Harvey.
Everybody,
I'm his biggest
everybody who's
fan.
watching this knows who you're talking about.
He's the best player on the team, from what I understand. I mean, it's pretty. Yeah. I mean, I like Penny Boone. Don't get me wrong. He's really like very productive. A big change of pace back next to Harvey, but like RJ Harvey is like that dude is. I'd be pretty surprised if he's not like a top 100 pick. Like he's a pretty complete running back prospect.
Yeah.
Like the what was it? The one of the bigger games last year I was watching, and it was my first impression of him. I think I posted it. Like it's just the mixture of the power game, the finesse, and then the long speed. And he can pass block. He's good in the receiving game. Like he's just a complete player. And like maybe his counting stats drop a little bit because they add Penny Boone in the backfield and he's not the sole guy. But I guarantee he's a better player. Not guarantee, but like almost certainly guarantee that he's going to be a better player, like more efficient and productive player this season with another guy who was, I think they were both top 6 in the country in rushing yards last year, like in the same backfield. Like that's something you build around. And then not to mention, I'm not going to act like, KJ Jefferson is not too different from our quarterback, DJ. Like he's had some hype at certain points in his career.
Same build, pretty much.
Right, same build. They're really, really big dudes. They can both run. KJ is probably a better runner than DJ. And that opens up a lot. Like you have KJ to open up the running game, and then you have these 2 running backs that can just rotate and always be fresh. And then the receivers, I'm blanking on their names, but
Kobe Hudson.
Yes, those 2. Yeah. I've seen a few people. And I'm not like I fall victim to this with certain schools that aren't blue bloods. Once again, like literally any school that's not like a top 15 school, they lose a high level player at any position, and you kind of assume that position is going to be a bit of a weakness the next year. You lose Javon Baker, who don't get me started. That man was committed to Kentucky in the portal, and they dropped him. But you lose Javon Baker, and like I don't think it's insane to say that the receiving core as a whole improved. And I'm not familiar with beyond the top 2, but just taking a step from those guys, like those guys each taking another step, having that 1-2 punch, like that's going to be dangerous. And the defense, from what I can understand, the front 7 really impresses me. Lee Hunter.
Yeah.
He has some, Lee Hunter. Yeah, he has some very impressive like advanced stats as a pass rusher. And then really, I think I compiled like an all Florida team a few months back with this Miami Twitter account, and we were like heavily debating putting him in or not. Yeah. And I just remember he had like Pro Football Focus has this statistic that stops, and it's basically just like any play that an offensive coordinator would just be like, dang, like we lost that rep. I think it's like under 5 yards on first down and like under 50% of whatever you need to get on the other downs. And he was like 2nd or 3rd among all defensive tackles in the country. Like it was just like he plays every snap, but like all the time for a defensive tackle. Like defensive tackles rotate. He plays a lot, and he does a lot every play. He is a like very consistent force. Like he made me. I actually watched some UCF defense tape, and not that your all's defense isn't good or anything, but it's not as star-studded as the offense.
It's not really that.
We were second to last in the Power 5 last year for rushing defense.
And worse than the Big 12.
Worse than the Big 12, yeah.
So not great. But yeah, I watched him, and then one of the corners stuck out a little bit. Who's corner one? What's his name?
Is it
Probably
Brandon Adams?
Brandon Adams?
Was he last year?
Yeah.
Yeah.
He was last year.
Okay, yeah, that's probably him. But whatever game I watched of the defense, like he definitely stuck out as well. Yeah, I mean, I think really like the way that UCF's gonna win games is the offense, and also the offensive tackle that UCF lost last year to the draft. Yes, Grable. That was another. I saw someone else say something about like the offensive line is probably going to take a step back, and I don't.
Yeah,
it does not. It seems like it's going to take a step forward, if anything. And
the
offense.
It's the biggest question mark on offense.
Yeah.
For sure.
Okay.
Offense is the offensive line currently.
The transfers.
How many?
Fine.
Okay.
I believe we had 17 transfers this year. We got like 2 or 3 linemen, maybe. It's not off the top of my head. I can't name them.
Okay.
But it wasn't anything major. We're just kind of like rolling with the guys we've been developing. Right. It's just a matter of coaching, because you have, like you said, mentioned RJ Harvey and Penny Boone. Like if you can just make a small hole for those guys, they'll burst. You just have
that will help them. That will help them.
Yeah.
But like you said, like if it was a weakness last year at all, like you had RJ Harvey last year, like, and you had probably a better running quarterback. I don't.
Yeah, I would say JRP was a lot more athletic wise. Like
yeah,
he was
fast.
I don't know if he was as willing to, especially late in his career, pull it. But KJ, yeah, I don't know.
I see KJ being more of like a bowling ball doing the read option. He's not going to get big 30, 40-yard gains, but on a read option, he'll get you a solid 7 to 10 yards.
Kind of going through. You're saying this out loud. I'm kind of thinking like JRP is not too different from Jordan Travis. DJ is not too different from KJ.
Yeah.
Really, it's a difference in the run game. It's probably a more consistent run game, I think, is what we've kind of all come to the bottom line as. And I think that Arkansas, I mean, KJ, like I have looked when I was really paying attention to Kentucky. Arkansas was never in the bottom half of the SEC in rushing in his career. Like, and they had Raheem Sanders one year, and he wasn't very good last year. But really, like, he's a big difference maker in the run game.
Yeah, I think really the problem for Arkansas this entire time just been they're in the SEC West, and Arkansas is just good at being fine, and being fine is not good enough in the SEC West.
I'm a Kentucky fan, so
yeah. But
we have to ask you one last thing. This is a little fun thing. Rank all of the teams in Florida right now.
Yep. Rank all Power 5 teams in Florida.
This season?
This upcoming season. Who do you think come out on top? Who do you think's the worst?
You don't have to sugarcoat anything because we're UCF.
I'll say Florida State won, just because I do have the most faith in their staff.
That's not debatable.
I think it's realistic, probably.
And then, I mean, I think Florida is going to I'm not considering Florida for number 2, but I think Florida is going to be a talented team. I just don't think they're going to be, like, their schedule is insane. So I think Florida is last. Or, well, who's the 5th team? USF? Or FIU?
We do Power 5 only.
Power 5, okay.
Power 4 only.
Okay, just 4. Yeah. So I'd say Florida's last. And then it's Miami or UCF. I honestly almost want to pick UCF just because, like, I don't think that Miami can beat out Clemson and FSU necessarily. And, like, I don't know. Like, the top of the Big 12 is not – like, there's not a drop-off between 1 and 2 in the Big 12.
No, there's not.
That's
like, at all.
There's not a drop-off between 1 and 5, I think.
It's my favorite part about the conference.
There's no – is there even, like, a consensus leader entering the season? No. Like,
everyone's between, like, Utah, Kansas State, and Oklahoma State. There's, like,
some people
it's just wide
say
open.
UCF. Some people. Not much.
Like, so I think I'd probably lean – I mean, I think if they played, I'd probably pick Miami, but I think UCF is going to have a better season than Miami. And maybe that means they have the same record and UCF just accomplishes more, but like bottom of the line, like more ability to do stuff in that conference, I guess, just because even though honestly the conferences are very similar this year, but the Big 12 is more middle, like heavy. The middle of it is just such a tight race, and there's such a drop off in the ACC after the top teams. But I'd probably say FSU 1, UCF 2, Miami 3, Florida 4.
Because you think UCF is beating Florida?
Oh yeah. Yeah, probably.
Oh yeah, okay.
All right.
Man, this
All
is a
right.
big success. Yeah.
That's the lock.
Okay, cool.
That's the lock.
But thanks, Clay, for coming on the show for this segment, for this
Sure.
part of it.
Okay,
Go ahead and follow him. I'll put his Twitter up on the
He's
screen.
got
He has
it.
awesome content. I tune in all the time. I mean, his ball knowledge is just insane. Not I mean
I
just for
appreciate
Florida
that.
State, but for just college football in general.
W
One
ball.
of the best accounts to follow.
Ball.
But thanks, man, for coming on. Genuinely,
I
appreciate
it's
it,
been in
bro.
the making for a while.
Yes, sir.
Andrew
Yeah.
and Clay are cool people. If you find
Yes,
a Clay,
sir.
tell them they have a good name.
It's a lucky
appreciate
name,
you for
apparently.
coming on. Appreciate you for coming on, man. It means a lot.
Yeah, thanks,
Yeah,
man.
for sure. Have a good one.
That was some really good info. If you want to find a whole interview with Clay, we get more in depth about FSU and a couple more schools in the state of Florida. You can find that on the Sons of UCF YouTube. But honestly, great overall talk. I like the insight that he had. Very knowledgeable. Like I said, he knows the ball for sure. And it's unique that we're able to bring on other guests from other schools. On
Yeah,
Up All
no,
Night.
it's awesome. He's really cool, and that had been in the talks for a while, just scheduling conflicts and whatnot.
Are we getting
But,
popular, Clay? Is our show gaining some traction?
We just might be. I mean,
We're not getting canceled.
sending the can't wait to present this to Adam. The numbers are doing much better. So weekly nightmare. And today we have our weekly nightmare. Now, this weekly nightmare is very special to me because it involves one of my favorite people, Trace Cherico, and his relentlessness to get to the truth, get to the bottom of things. He will get to the bottom of it no matter what. So I'm going to go ahead and play the clip.
How would you describe the distribution of tasks between you and Addison Williams?
I think it's been fantastic as far as distribution of task. You know what? I've been doing this 38 years, and that's the first time I've ever been asked that question with those verbiage, the distribution of task. So, congratulations. It's been fine. So, that's the distribution of task.
What are you doing? What is he doing?
I'm doing what defensive coordinators do. He's doing what co-defensive coordinators, assistant head coaches do.
Which includes?
I'm not going to sit here and talk about a job description. That's not what I'm talking about.
So
Clay asked the,
that was just a hostile
Trace asked
interaction.
the hard-hitting questions. He gets to the bottom of it. He wasn't going to stop. What was that, 3 in a row?
Yeah,
Yeah.
3 straight.
What made me laugh about that the most is I've never been asked that question in 38 years.
That from the beginning, I just knew it was going. That was going in a direction that it shouldn't have gone. Just
Oh
from the
my
way
God.
Ted was talking.
I don't know if that feels like an honor or like a bad thing. Like, to never
No,
be asked
the way
that
Ted was looking,
38
like it
years.
was hostile. He was like, this question's terrible. I'm not.
No, like as
answering
a
that."
journalist though, like asking somebody a question they've never been asked in 38 years, it almost feels like a good thing. Like, wow, nobody's ever asked this question. I'm the first journalist to ask him. But honestly, seriously, I would say I didn't really like that answer from Ted. I do think he's a decent guy who has the team's defense and best interest. I think what Trace was really going for is like, okay, you were brought here as a defensive coordinator. Addison Williams wasn't fired. He was just moved to a different position. So what responsibilities are you taking on? How much responsibilities of Addison Williams did you take on from his previous position? And what is he currently doing now as the co-defensive coordinator? I never really heard these terms before, co-defensive coordinator. Like it's new to me, like watching NFL, you never really hear that stuff. I don't think it was asked poorly. There's been a lot of controversy on whether that question was asked poorly. Was Ted Roof in the wrong for not answering it? I think it was a fair question. Questions are asked to be answered. And he took it hostile. I didn't like they really took it hostile. Maybe not to stir up the pot. He just didn't want to announce that he has fully taken over Addison Williams' job. Maybe that could be a possibility. What do you think, Clay?
Yeah, I completely agree. I think that was a fair question. Just tell me what you do and what he does. If you're a co-defensive coordinator, you guys obviously split up the tasks. Either that or you're doing the same thing, and that's just doing the exact same tasks and working with the exact same positions, doing the exact same thing, which I highly doubt. And if that is so, that's inefficient for us. But yeah, no, I agree completely. Ted Roof, I mainly handle this, and this, and he handles that. And when it comes to drawing up, defenses, I do it practically, and he'll put it in place, something like that. Even
Maybe
some media
Addison
answer you could have
control of a certain position group. I'd take control of the overall, like stuff like that. Maybe like we could have gotten something like that. I don't think you need to deviate from the question that hard.
I agree, and that segues perfectly into this week's scouting report. And this one's gonna be really quick. BYU, the Cougars. Fortunately, we're talking about football and not soaking. I wish we were talking about soaking. But BYU last year they went 5-7, lost a lot of close ones, lost the last 5. Their final game of the year they went into double overtime against Oklahoma State. They fought for bowl eligibility, ended up losing. They lost their quarterback. They have a quarterback battle ongoing right now between USF transfer and another guy. I forgot where he transferred from. They have a really good running back, LJ Martin. Is that his name? I think that's his name. Really good. Rushed for over 500 yards as a freshman in his final few games of the season. Very good. Pretty much everyone university agrees that probably going to be the same as they were last year, 5-7, maybe 6-6 if some things go their way. Their main concern right now is offensive line. They lost a lot of their offensive line. Not only was bad last year, but on top of that, they 3 of their starting 5 graduated. So yeah, that's mainly their main concern. I think this is probably UCF's easiest game on the schedule, if not Cincinnati. They're probably tied with BYU for being the easiest game on the schedule. Defense
on the Big 12
again.
Schedule. Big 12 saving you. Big 12 schedule.
On the Big 12 schedule, yeah. And yeah, it should be a fun home game. It's homecoming. I should see this as a win for us, decently win. Their defense is middle of the pack in the Big 12 as well. Offensive line, a lot of questions. We should hopefully our rushing game or our pass rush should go right through them.
So I think with that analysis, I will give the grade for our challenge against BYU. I'm gonna give them a C. It's definitely not a team that you can just breeze by.
Yeah,
but it should
I give them a C-
be
probably.
a C. I think it should be marked as a W on the schedule. As a Jets fan, whenever I think of BYU, I just think how funny it was that Zach Wilson played for a team called the Cougars, knowing that he loves some Cougars.
He loves moms, dude.
He loves moms.
But
throwing bombs and loving moms.
That's Zach Wilson's in Denver now. He's gonna get all the moms there. But I believe we have an over/under this week.
We do have an over/under, and it's with your boy, your one and only Sunshine.
It is.
So I would definitely I'm gonna take credit for making this line, and the reason why I made this line 1100. You wonder okay, RJ Harvey just immediately you think he's gonna be better. He is going to be better. He had 1,400 rushing yards last season, though. So why is over/under at 1,100? Because Penny Boone is in that running back room now. Do you think that Penny Boone is going to limit RJ from reaching 1,100? Do you think Penny Boone is at least getting 500? So either this team is going to run a lot more, or is RJ going to even break 1,000? I want it to be fair. I want it to be challenging. I think 1,000 or 1,100 was fair. So what do you think, Clay?
This one's hard to pin, I'd say, because the problem is he splits carries with Penny Boone. He also going to split carries with RJ taking some snaps at the rush, a little QB action, QB option. Same thing with not only that, but the pass game's opened up now that we have a better passer in KJ Jefferson, with Kobe Hudson and Xavier Townsend and Randy Pittman. It's going to be difficult, and that's why I'm going to take the under. I think he can crack 1,000. I don't know if he'll get to that 1,100 mark, though. I don't see it. With the way our offense is set up for success in multiple areas, it seems hard that he could top more than 1,100. And if he does crack more than 1,100 this year, he's the greatest UCF quarterback of all time.
Running back.
Smith.
Running back. Good. You said running back.
What I say?
Quarterback.
No, running back of all time. Okay.
Yeah. Well, that is a hot take. that might need to be on the Hot Wheel. Next episode, you will get a Hot Wheel.
Yeah.
On that. I do agree with Clay here. I thought maybe because he's RJ's biggest number one stan, he might take the over. So I could have debated him, but I do have to agree. I do think he can definitely. I think write me down for 1,027 yards for RJ Harvey this season. I just like exactly what Clay said. I do think he'll break the 1,000. I don't see a world where RJ doesn't break 1,000. And if he goes into the final game with 900 something, Gus is going to let him do his thing for sure. But Penny Boone is like, once again, like one of the most talented running backs in the nation alongside RJ Harvey. The running back room is insane. And not only to mention, but they got a couple more running back options. Name one, Miles Montgomery from Cincinnati transfer. He's a power back. You might see him in the goal line. So carries would definitely be split. And KJ does have a stronger arm. He's more of a pass-first quarterback. Can definitely run. Like I say, he's going to bowling ball people, but he's going to roll out the pocket and sling that ball. So I do think he'll reach the 1,000. I'm going to take under 1,100 though.
I agree. Well, I think that Andrew about wraps everything up. I think we have some news.
Yes.
That you have to break to our audience. Break our
Yes.
audience. What do you want to say, Andrew?
I will be visiting my home country of Dominican Republic. Actually starting. You'll see that when the episode comes out, I'll already be there. So we are taking a little 2-week break, but starting coming back, I believe that's 3rd week of August. We'll be back and we'll full-on football coverage. We'll be deep diving in every football game, and you'll be getting the best UCF coverage on Up All Night.
Absolutely. And, we're going to kind of change the form a little bit, maybe even change what day Up All Night comes out. But Up All Night is here to stay. And Clay and Andrew's analysis is here to stay as well. So, anyways, I'm tired. We're all tired here. I think we've officially been Up All Night.
Thank you for watching, everyone. And I'm happy to say we're not getting canceled.
Hooray. That's all I've ever wanted is not get canceled. Anyways, good night, everyone. And we will see you in a few weeks.